So we must be familiar about how our elders, like our mothers, our aunties, our mother-in-laws, or our pastors, they often use the word that I have got a verse from God, and this said so and so. So this is what might happen next. So be ready, be aware. And we as youngsters, we oftentimes we don't realize, like, how does God give the Bible verse. Like, did you just open the Bible by chance and you just fell on that page? Like, how do you know that Bible, that God gave you that verse? How do you know that you didn't just stumble by it, and that you shouldn't take things literally? So as far as how my story with the book of Second Kings was, is that, so 2004 2015 we had our first child, raised Iris. And so we didn't want a child for the next few years because I was doing my postgraduate, and I didn't want to get distracted. And so after all that postgraduate was over, and I think around 2017, 2017 my mother-in-law told Ranjita, you better get ready, that I got a verse from God saying that you're going to have a child soon. I think it was around 2017. Yeah, that's what Ranjita said. It's a 2017. I got a Bible verse from God that you're going to get a child soon, and that verse was from the book of Second Kings, and it said, chapter 4, verse 16. And Elisha said, about this season, according to the time of life, thou shalt embrace a son. And she said, uh, nay, my lord, I am your handmaid, and my husband is old, and so on. So this handmaid is supposed to this handmaid has an old husband. And so when Elisha said, about this time, around this season, around this season next year, you're going to conceive a child. So this is that verse that my mother-in-law had got, regarding that this is that Ranjita is going to have a child soon. And so those days I was just a very average Christian. Like, I was never an atheist. I believed in God from the beginning of time, but I just used to read Bible as, oh no, I need to read the Bible. It's very difficult, but I need to read it. Something I'll read half a chapter or one chapter alternate days or once a week. That's the type of Christian I was. I was a very average Christian, but I always believed in God. So then I like, okay, fine, yeah, we're gonna have a child. Okay, that's good. Yeah. So when do we start? Like, I was like I thought, okay, fine, we're gonna have a child soon. So what? Yeah. Then Ranjita got a urine pregnancy test as positive in some month in 2017, after her mom said it. So okay, fine. 2017, yeah, 2017. And then after, so Ranjita got pregnant, we were all very happy. So the verse was fulfilled. But 3 months into the pregnancy, we took a repeat scan, and we found out that the baby had died. So this is when all the drama becomes, because me, Stephen Lysander, the thing about Stephen Lysander is, uh, he gives more value to the life of babies more than anything on this earth. More than anything, babies are the most important thing for me in my life. I even wanted to become a pediatrician, but certain political reasons and certain thoughts in my mind and certain disputes had made me to choose general medicine. Babies are number one. And so immediately, instantly, as soon as the baby died, I was not angry with God, but I was angry with my wife. I felt that she was not I felt that she was not careful enough, and I felt that her mother-in-law was not strict enough with her. And I had those kind of thoughts and disputes in my mind, and I was going about my own sinful track. Actually, that's I went into to a different level sinful track, something that Stephen was never about, never, from the beginning of time. And so okay, so on and so forth, end of the sinful track. And then uh, so so after so we had done all the DNC procedure, and the miscarriage, the products of conception, that is the dead child, has been taken out from the uterus because it was missed abortion. And so after that, for the next 4 months, it was complete HELL, because next 4 months no sign of pregnancy, and we were not using any contraception. So I hope I'm not being too raw here, but yeah, anyway, so for the next 4 months we were like, wow, what's happening, why are you not getting pregnant? We were like, we were so confused, and so we felt really, I was really like, I was almost to the point like, okay, whatever, fine, let God give us a baby whenever he wants to. It's fine, let it be, whatever. And then Then on the 5th month, in some particular day, but some particular day, I was writing this Bible verse. Yeah, mind you, at the end of the sinful track and post abortion, I had started going on the path of becoming a Bible teacher. So on the 5th month, I was writing this Bible verse in my kitchen table on the morning. This was the first Bible verse that I wrote, and that verse went like this. It was, say, 2 Kings chapter 4, verse 32 and 33 and 34. And when Elisha has come into the house, behold, the child was dead and laid upon his bed. He went in therefore and shut the door upon them and prayed unto the Lord. And he went and lay upon the child, and he put his mouth upon his mouth, and he put his mouth upon his mouth, and he put his hands upon his hands, and he stretched himself upon the child, and the flesh of the child waxed warm. So he stretched himself upon the child, and the flesh of the child waxed warm. So Elisha prayed to God, and that dead child immediately revived and got back its life, and flesh immediately became warm. So this is the Bible verse that I have written on the wall. As you can see, it's written long ago and it's very old, and this is the proof that nobody would write such a verse like this normally, because everyone writes some prosperity verse or some important verse, so and so, but this is a very odd verse to write because I had written this verse. About how this was the verse that I had written on that kitchen table in my notebook. That is the only verse I wrote, and as soon as I had finished writing that verse, Ranjita had taken the question that so many UPTs have been negative, and like you don't seem to be bothered about it. Like, what am I supposed to do? Are we supposed to take a scan, or supposed to take a scan or something? Like maybe the DNC, or maybe the uterus has not, maybe the conceptions of products of conception of the previous miscarriage has not been evacuated completely, or something like that. We weren't saying the whole thing, but she said, like, what are you going to do next? Like she was, I could tell in her mind she was thinking that you're a doctor. I haven't become pregnant past 4 months. Like, what is your next step? UPTs are being negative, our scan was negative, and all that. So then I said, after writing this verse down, I said, fine, take a scan today. That's all I said. I didn't say anything else. Fine, take a scan today. Boom. Immediately she goes with my mom to take a scan, and there you see a gestational sac. A baby was there. Just like how that dead baby was revived by Elisha, rubbing his hands and blowing into the mouth and praying to the God of heaven. Immediately that baby's flesh became warm. Similarly, the dead baby that we had lost as number 2 had come as number 3, and that is the testimony that we got regarding our baby, and that is why we have named her Lisha, Lisha, after the prophet Elisha. So most of the things in the book of 2nd Kings seems to be very supernatural, that so many people feel like, how could this have happened? But this proved so much how the God of Elisha, the one God of heaven, is very real, and how God speaks to his servants through the Bible. So this is a prime example of how God gives you a verse. So it's not a joke. When God gives you a verse, he speaks. That is his way of speaking to you. We need not go chase after any false prophets. When God needs to communicate something to you from heaven, he can do it in the form of a vision or a dream or through a Bible verse based on the strength of his servant. So this is what I wanted to say. This is today's verse. Amen.